This new free-to-play Assassin's Creed game is insanely impressive. Now, don't click away yet. I know it's a mobile game. I hope it's coming to PC and console as well. But I will tell you why this is really wild and why I think that this could have a huge impact on these RPG Assassin's Creed games moving forward. Not only does it have this really cool chain assassination animation, it also features co-op multiplayer. Yes, it's back. We got big mythical bosses to fight, a ton of customization options. Like Assassin's Creed Codename Jade is basically a spiritual successor to Assassin's Creed Odyssey with many quality of life features and a lot of content already at launch. And in the tutorial we play Wei Yu, who you might remember from the statue in Assassin's Creed 2. He assassinated the first emperor of China with a spear. Well, now we control him in the opening section of Jade. You can kind of compare it to the start of Odyssey, where you play Leonidas and are already a high level and can try some powerful abilities, but it gets better, because in Jade we fight alongside Kassandra. Yes, she's in this game, looks great, and has the same voice actress.
In these scrolls is everything you need to know about your disciples' circumstances.
She's here to retrieve a piece of Eden from a Roman general, who's by the way not afraid to use it in the boss battle that we have to do against him first. Now there is more going on, but in the closed beta version I think the cutscenes were not finished yet, so instead you will see concept art and a narrator telling you what is going on. So I would imagine that this first part of Jade will be even cooler in the full release. After helping Kassandra, she gives you the special blade that Wei Yu then passes on to his apprentice, who turns out to be our own player character. And we will use this blade to assassinate people, so similar to the broken spear of Leonidas from Odyssey. And yes, you might notice some similar assassination animations. Again, it's basically Odyssey with even returning armor sets from that game, including a very fun one. You're not ready, I will show you it in a second. But the game is also so much more than the Greek RPG. For one, we can create our own character directly after the tutorial with quite some options and sliders. And yes, I'm using footage from a ton of different people. Links to their channels will be in the video description. And then with that character, you will follow a fully voiced main campaign or can explore ancient China and complete many of the side activities. Like sure, there are some side missions, but also non-narrative stuff like parkour challenges where you have to light beacons in under a time limit and defeat some defending enemies as well. The follow a trail is back, similar to the previous games. There are quite some puzzles, like your regular bar doors or objects that you have to move, oil jars that we have to throw, things that you have to carry to open doors. And of course we can find many familiar outposts that now have a singular objective, like finding a chest that is a bit hidden, or here you have to save prisoners. It's nothing we haven't seen before, but it's also all here and there seems to be a lot of it. And I really like the mask that you put on when killing a high value target, and by doing these activities you get some meaningful rewards. Like the random gear and weapon drop system from Origins and Odyssey is back in this game, so expect to fill your inventory with a ton of items that you can then equip to change your look or upgrade your character. If you by the way like the video so far, leaving a like, because 1 second of your time would be awesome, and subscribe because I will tell you way more about this game and of course other Assassin's Creed titles. Let me know if you actually are curious to try it in the comments down below. So while stealth is totally a viable option, you can like try and sneak around to do brutal knife assassinations and insta-kill most regular enemies from what I've seen, which should be of course based on your level, the stats and health of the enemies. There's even a lost known position feature that wasn't before in the RPG games, so you have a clue where the enemies will start looking for you and can then try to hide. There's also the skill tree, which are called talents, that include skills that for example enable you to assassinate a target from a hay cart, which is not possible from moment 1. But the big thing is that there are no active abilities for stealth in Jade, which was of course the case in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So that's why I think stealth players won't be really satisfied with this game, like it focuses way more on fighting enemies head on, which I would argue could turn out to be more interesting than what we saw in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There are long swords that require 2 hands but look satisfying to use. We got fast dual blades, 2-handed axes, spears and bows right now, and the twist is that active abilities are linked to these weapons instead of your character. So every weapon weapon has a different attack power, you can have an element that it applies, but more importantly, the weapon also have active skills that you can then activate in combat. But it is possible that one longsword, for example, has different abilities than one you find later on, which would actually make equipping new weapons more meaningful, with in particular legendary weapons having very unique abilities that I think might be exclusive to these items, which is pretty cool. You can also switch between weapons during combat, so combine the different abilities and find cool combinations, which will likely be very important. And also when you switch weapons, you switch to a different armor set as well. So you can really focus on finding the best gear for a particular weapon and then switch them out. You're basically making multiple builds that you can then switch between during the fight. And so far the outfit pieces are looking pretty cool. There's also an apply appearance button, so I think you can just apply the look while equipping other items. So both loadouts and transmog are already in the game at launch, which took Valhalla many months and for loadouts even a year and a half to add. So maybe this means that Red will have these features at the release as well. And yeah, I joked about familiar armor sets. In a previous video, I already mentioned that I spotted the Pilgrim outfit from Odyssey in a Jade screenshot. And well, now people found the Hades armor set from Odyssey in Assassin's Creed Jade as well. This time it's only cosmetic though, so it won't have any stats. I prefer it if these items have cool perks, as with transmog you can apply the look over any other item anyways. But still, as long as they're not selling these reused armor sets again, then I think it's fine. This actually gives me some nostalgic vibes. Like, I think it's actually cool that this item is in Jade. So in the closed beta, you got this full armor set by doing the Matrix, which is one of the many extra side activities where you have to select a loadout, so 3 weapons and armor sets, and then beat waves of enemies in an Isu-inspired arena. Do that as fast as possible to earn better rewards, so kinda similar to the other arenas we saw. I hope there are some unique bosses here as well. I haven't seen them yet, but it overall does look cool and it seems a bit more challenging than what we had in Odyssey, and the timer is a nice touch. But there are way more extra systems, like also bounties, where you have to find and kill certain targets in the world that don't seem too challenging and also seem to reset over time, so something you can repeat when looking for particular resources. There are also daily and weekly world missions you can complete. So basically a lot of reasons to log in every day, which common for mobile games. But more exciting is multiplayer. There are namely special trials that you can do alone, but also in a group with up to 4 players. There were 3 of these missions in the closed beta, with a more difficult, higher level version of them as well. They were pretty short, like 5 minutes or so, also depending on your strength of course, but they were designed with more players in mind. And you can add people to your friend list and then invite them, or you can also matchmake with random people. It's just really cool to see co-op in an RPG Assassin's Creed game like this, and also kinda crazy that it took them this long to do it, and that the mobile game of all of them is the first to implement it. But I really would not be surprised if Red, similar to, for example, Ghost of Tsushima, will have something like this during its probably 3-year-long post-launch as well. It will be kinda weird to go from Jade to Red without any sort of multiplayer, while we of course know that Red will first and foremost be a single player game. There's more though, because in the beta there were 3 pretty cool mythical creatures based on the Chinese mythology in Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, and you can battle them alone, but also here can have other players help you out, which will totally speed up the fight, as without the right loadout, this can be pretty challenging to take out. Access the Animus was also able to do some open world exploration together by like following each other around. Overall, huge shout outs to Access the Animus for a ton of info on this game. They were able to stream it already. Like, I'm not sure how big the multiplayer aspect is, but it's at least pretty awesome that it's finally back and in an RPG game like this. Like, I'm already looking forward to streams of this game where I can play together with you or maybe other viewers and we can do some of the content together. I think that will be very fun. But I'm sure some of you are already wondering if there is controller support. And well, so far I don't think it's confirmed yet, with people trying it during the beta but not getting any good results. You can change the touchscreen UI a lot though, like it's actually pretty impressive. You can move everything around and place it where you want. so at least they got that covered. But yeah, another important thing is the monetization. Like, this game is free to download on iOS and Android, hopefully sometime this year. We'll of course keep you posted here. At least the beta already seems very polished, apart from some missing cutscenes and AI voice acting. But with the amount of content that is actually here, I'm sure they will have like a big free post-launch plan as well. Like, this game probably cost already $100 million. Like, that's my prediction. So they want to get that money back, and they will do it via a gacha system. If you played Genshin Impact, then this will look super familiar, but the idea is that you're basically gambling loot box style to get available legendary weapons. So these are available for a limited time, and then a new legendary weapon will appear, and you are able to get them with gold ingots that you get from every activity in the game, so you can totally earn a lot of them for free and probably get some of the legendary weapons without paying. But what always happens is that the pace at which you get the gold ingots will eventually slow down, and then you either have to pay money to get the weapon or skip them altogether. Now, totally let me know if you want me to explain the system way more in depth in a future video. Drop it in the comments. But in the closed beta, the developers were pretty generous. I saw like most players get all the 3 available legendary weapons. I don't think it will be that easy when the game launches. And I also hope there are at least a few legendary weapons that we can also earn by playing. So far, I've only seen legendary armor sets that you can get from activities. Also not sure if they will sell armor sets through this like gacha system, or maybe like through an in-game Helix style shop. I'm sure there will also be one like that. And we've also seen one over-the-top amount already as a free reward for logging in for 3 days. So I'm sure they're going to explore like more paid mounts as well. And I will actually be playing the game and talking to developers at Gamescom. So if you have any questions about Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, I will try and get an answer. Leave them in the comments down below. So yeah, totally subscribe for more videos on Jade. Let me know if you want to see more in the comments. And a like, of course, would really help me out. And check out my previous video on Mirage with good and bad news for that game by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.